It looks like the end of an era as Hooters is possibly preparing to go bankrupt. And this is in the midst of what everyone is calling the anti-woke vibe shift, where beers, burgers, and boobs are in. Unfortunately, Hooters was not saved by the good PR from Sydney Sweeney's Hooters-themed SNL skit either. That was last year, wasn't it?
I mean, I think they were already about 5 years too late on this.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was last year.
Here were a couple of responses I saw that made me laugh. I knew the company would go tits up at some point, but I wasn't really keeping abreast of the latest news. Another one said, rebrand to Gooners and make it an esports cafe. I promise you it'll be McDonald's money.
Honestly, probably.
Just Gen Z rebrand Hooters to something that's somehow related to Twitch streamers.
The thing is, though, guys, is that it's not going to work because... so a lot of people I saw claims of calling this misogynist. They called the restaurant misogynist, which made me laugh because I was like, no, it's not losing out on Gen Z because Gen Z isn't misogynist. It's just that they're watching porn at home and they don't have to go to these restaurants.
If only they had to embarrass themselves in real life.
They can have the Dino Nuggies at home and watch their porn there for like half the price.
Yeah, but Hooters was also successful in the age of porn.
Yeah, but people were more social then.
Yeah.
People are not like it's the joke is I watched some Instagram reel the other day. It's like when I was 14, I stole my mom's car to go to a concert. My 14-year-old won't order food from the waiter when we go out to dinner.
Yeah, but if you say that, you are the parent, so you're kind of calling yourself out.
Oh no, the person but her putting that out there is kind of crappy to begin with. That's besides the point. Right. The point is for a long time the trope has existed that millennials even didn't like answering the phone. I have my own kind of in my brain reason for that. It has nothing to do with social anxiety and everything to do with a bunch of like young adults being put into debt who then don't want to pick up and hear from their debt collector about how they owe student loans, so they just ignore the call.
Yeah.
I don't know whether that's necessarily true or not. But Gen Z is not the first generation to be told that they were not happy to answer the phone or didn't like to talk on the phone and stuff like that. I know a lot of people who don't like that because they think text communication is faster. I remember Tim talking about saying there's nothing that I can't communicate in a text that isn't automatically faster. The reason you talk in person is because it's about the tone of the conversation, not necessarily the information that has to be relayed. And I was like, yeah, but a lot of times both of these generations are now people that talk about tone policing and using the right emojis. And if you don't put an exclamation on the mark at the end, it's like you're yelling at them. And there's all sorts of problems with digital communication that they would still prefer rather than actually talking to a person in the real world.
Well, if I'm telling you, I'm on the way in 15 minutes, see you soon, that's a text. If I'm going to tell you a story, that's a phone call. And you're right that Gen Z has a lot of phone anxiety and social anxiety in general. That could have something to do with the expiration date on a business model like Hooters, or there are other knockoffs.
But the other ones are like
Tilted Kilt.
Twin Peaks is like expanding according to what they said here.
So what's the
menu?
What did they do
Literally
right?
everyone said menu.
What did they do right that Hooters did wrong?
I don't know. Like, could it be social media related? Like maybe it has to do with how they market.
I don't know. Another comment said, terrible business model. It is amazing they survived this long. The appeal of Hooters is to take the slop of a strip club and the slop of chicken wings and put them together. That actually sounds like it should be a successful business model.
It's actually a trope in movies and television of the guy who goes to the strip club for the buffet menu.
But similarly to the downfall of Abercrombie and Fitch, we have a 20 from Cesario JPN. Hear me out. Take ideas from Japan to save Hooters. They have host clubs, maid cafes, muscle girl bars, etc. So we could have goth IHOP, goth Hooters, femboy Hooters, maybe drop the Hooters part. I don't know.
I think that there would be a stigma around the sexuality of it in America that would make people not want to go.
But there's
Like those marketing ideas sound unbelievably on the young end. Like the ideas that he just put forth are for people on the young end, and I feel like the young people aren't going to want to do that. Like your market for this is supposed to be like literally families. Like Hooters is advertised as a family restaurant, and older men. I told you earlier, I saw the greatest meme that I've ever seen this weekend. It says Kid Rock makes music for guys who have their picture taken with the Hooters waitress, and I said I wish I was that clever on the uptake, because it's exactly what it is. But the point is that it's a business model that for the most part is only going to work if you actually have halfway decent food that will actually bring people there to get it. And you can get good food from a lot of different places these days. And restaurants as a whole fail all the time, even chains. Remember Red Lobster last year? Bankruptcy.
It's funny that this is the timing of Hooters' downfall, because it reminds me of what happened to Abercrombie and Fitch, where they faced all of this legal action for supposedly discriminating in their hiring process. Yeah. They were hiring people based on hotness instead of retail experience, and their entire brand was about being exclusive and excluding people who weren't cool and hot and shredded. Yeah. And that's what, made them fall out of fashion, because it pissed off the people who didn't feel like they met that standard. And the same thing happened to Hooters over the years, where they faced a lot of discrimination suits because they were trying to hire hot young women with big boobs. And that's technically illegal?
Yeah.
We have another 20 from No Control. I saw Hooters was on DoorDash, was all excited, but when the order arrived, it was just some fat 40-year-old dude. Wasn't even wearing the little shorts.
Damn. Didn't even think about that.
That's brutal.
Yeah.
We did ask you in the poll today if you have been to a Hooters before, and it's surprisingly split. I didn't think that many people had gone to Hooters, but it looks like a majority so far.
Yep.
You haven't. You said that you don't remember having gone to one. No. I have not gone to one either. And I don't
know if we even had any in Minnesota where I lived. I don't know if any of us would have ever gone there.
I was also up the closest one to here, and it's like an hour and a half away.
The most restauranting I did when I was young was like half price apps at Applebee's, because I was poor.
I would literally be more likely to go to Chuck E. Cheese for their food.
Yeah. Well, I have told the story. I did one time order pizza from DoorDash from Chuck E. Cheese.
Did you enjoy it?
I did. It was amazing.
I like it. It's kind of effed up, but I like it.
It's like pizza cardboard.
But they recycle it. I've said this on the show before. I don't know if people really believe me or if you think I'm doing a bit, but I'm telling you, Chuck E. Cheese recycles their pizzas. And what I mean by that is that if you order a pizza to your table and you don't finish it and you leave some slices behind, they take those slices to the back, reheat them, and they shape them into a weird non-circular pizza for the next people. So that's basically how COVID broke out.
Basically, yeah.
It's probably what gave me the sickness that I am just barely recovering from now. Okay. But this reminded me as well of Carl's Jr.'s recent Super Bowl ad featuring Alex Earl, who is one of the most prominent Gen Z podcast and TikToker personalities. It was like bringing the vibe shift to the forefront, showing that the beauty standard is still hot, tall, blonde with boobs. And when you put those things together with burgers, you just get stonks.
All of these ads end up becoming a hilarious meme to me, because there's we talk a lot on whenever I'm on IRL about what America First and what MAGA is. And this is no place better to see where they diverge than when these stories come up, where when this gets posted, half the people are like, "We are so back." And then the other half of the people are like, "This is awful. We can't be doing this." And you get to see just where the socially liberal, fiscally conservative people diverge.
It ruffled some feathers for sure. She also has the worst spelling of Alex ever.
I was gonna say with an
I.
My hope is that it's a stage name and it's not how her name is actually spelled, or that But given her age, it probably is how it's spelled.
I think her parents did that to her.
Okay.
Let's be real. Everyone's gonna be a hot mess after the big game. Been there, done that. And I've got just what you need to cure that post-party bug. The Carl's Jr. Hangover Burger. A, double bacon. Yeah, you need that double bacon. Charbroiled beef, hash browns, cheese, and sauce. Just the way I like it.
Her eyes are dead.
Yeah.
And guess what? It's free the day after the big game. You just have to download the Carl's Jr. app and sign up for my rewards. So get your free hangover burger on Monday, February 10th. He'll definitely need one. Let's be
Okay.
That's the concept. Colin Rugg, who tweeted out the video, said, Carl's Jr. brings back their iconic bikini Super Bowl commercials after an 8-year slump where they promised to end sexualized ads. America really is back.
See, that's what I'm saying. There's like a dividing line here between the conservative Christian right or Catholic right, and then the ones who are just here because everybody on the left went so far left that they didn't fit in anymore.
This move is the latest trend of companies abandoning woke positions and policies following Trump's election win.
Like right after this was said, somebody probably referenced Creed and the Creed halftime show, and they were all mentioned in the same breath, I'm sure.
Yeah, but there are disparate messages in that broadcast, given that Kendrick Lamar was the headliner for the Super Bowl, and that was like super woke, as is Kendrick himself.
We didn't even have Carl's Jr. in Minnesota. We had Hardee's, which is basically the same thing.
I think Me Too. If it's on the East Coast, it's also Hardee's.
West Coast was Carl's Jr. The only time I'd ever been to a Carl's Jr. was in like Northern California.
But you know, I agree that it's the sign of a cultural shift, but it's only showing that we're not able to come up with anything new because this is clearly channeling vibes from like 2003.
Maybe they don't need new. Maybe what we need is a return to form. Maybe new is bad.
Like, are the conservatives just people who want to rewind by 20 years?
Yeah, so
now?
they can make conservative beer dad calendars.
Like, I don't know. It just seems like lame and tired and boring to me.
I mean, it's very, very rare that you get to see really, really clever, fun advertising. But the problem is that advertising in general right now is something that people are annoyed with, given the fact that, look, these streaming services want to send you to the ad tier for all of their productions anyways. And pretty much everything in life now is like a giant shell game where they're trying to shuffle you into some space where you have to look at ads.
We have a 20 from Not That Jon Stewart. Am I messed in the head? She looks like the OF girl who slept with a ton of guys.
I mean, there's just lots of girls that look like that now because it's a very, very plain, repeated beauty standard based on superficiality.
She doesn't look too dissimilar from Lily Phillips. I kind of see it, yeah. But I guess that's the point. They all look like they come off a factory line, and that's what Hooters envisioned for the type of women they would hire, but that's literally against the law, so it caught up with them eventually, and they just didn't recover fast enough to hop on that anti-woke bandwagon.
Yeah, I don't think the fact that, like, literally all the arguments I saw about this were people saying that the menu sucks and hasn't been changed in, like, a decade.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the problem. Maybe they just they kind of rested on their laurels and didn't actually try to
can coast on boobs, right?
One of the things is like when you get into business and you get, especially in America and like in a country as hyper capitalistic as America, is like you don't get to just invent something and then ride that forever. You have to make changes along the way. Mm-hmm. Like, look at a store like Target, which is as popular as it is and has been for as long as it has. It's not like it entirely represents what Target looked like 20 years ago. Like, just including online ordering and updates to stuff like that. Like, they have to stay relevant somehow, and every business has to do that. And restaurants, more than almost any other, like, venture, fail. Mm-hmm. Like, all the time.
That's why you only start a pizza joint or a diner because
pizza joint will
they're
always,
the lowest cost.
Pizza joint will always be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.